You should also, for most monitors, for most speakers, don't go around buying speakers checking how loud they can be. For mixing, they can be loud enough. You're not going to use monitors, speaker monitors for, I don't know, powering up a club or having concerts or whatnot. They don't have to be 200 watts RMS. That's really not important. You don't have to worry about how loud they can be because they can be loud enough. So 99% of speakers which are used for this purpose can be loud enough. What's more important is that you like how they sound, that you test them and that you like how they sound, or that you explore and see that a lot of people who like the same music or mix the same music as you enjoy them. That's much more useful when you're just trying to buy. Here you can see the frequency response from 50 Hz to 50 kHz. Also, a perfect situation would be that it goes from 20 Hz to extremely high. But this would be really important to remember that some speaker manufacturers are fair, and they write, our speaker goes from 50 Hz. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't produce any frequencies below 50 Hz. It simply means that it has a roll-off. It simply means that frequencies below 50 Hz are going to be quieter than frequencies above and equal to 50 Hz. While some other manufacturers are going to say our speaker goes from 20 Hz to 20 kHz, but they're not fair, and they wrote that just because their speaker really does produce extremely low frequencies, but it doesn't do it in a flat way. So it produces them, but not good. Here, let's say especially for Adam audio, if you see 50 Hz to 50 kHz, you are sure that these speakers, if this is 20 Hz, this is 20 kHz, this is our hearing range, you are sure that Adam's speakers from 50 Hz are, let's say, more or less flat, like this. Maybe here under 50 Hz they go like this. So whatever you play through these speakers, this frequency range is going to be attenuated like this. But if you buy some other speakers, maybe it's going to be even worse, but in the specifications you will see 20 Hz. Simply because it really does produce 20 Hz, but bad. So you have to be careful which frequency chart you believe, okay? You have to explore it a bit. Okay, let's see if something else is important here that we can talk about now. Basically not so much.
I have a question.
Yeah, ask.
What about frequencies from 20 to 50 kHz? We can't hear them.
Yeah, this is the point is that there are different philosophies why let's say this would be good, but it's not so important for now. The point is that a speaker can, let's say what Adam Audio says is that a speaker produces the lower frequencies better if it is able to produce even the extremely high frequencies. And also because of the way these frequencies interact in air. So some people say that even though you cannot hear a 40 kHz sound, if you play it out of the speaker, that 40 kHz sound is going to influence other sounds which are in the room, and those different sounds are going to sound different. But the point is, even if this is true, it's really not so important. There are other things which are much more important, so don't waste your time with that too much. And also, why they can write this is because it's much easier to produce a speaker which can produce extremely high frequencies. It's easy to produce a speaker which produces extremely high frequencies, but it's not so easy or cheap to produce a speaker which can produce really low frequencies. So the point is, they wrote this just because it's not hard to make such a speaker. Okay?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm buying headphones, back, of course, what cheap ones would you recommend?
These are cool, actually. These
What's the price range?
let's say around 150 euros. 130, well, it's you can get really close with 150 euros headphones. You can get really close to having speakers, a treated room. So imagine how much money you would have to spend if you want to buy speakers, treat the room, do everything else. You would have to spend like, I don't know, more than 1,000 euros. But the thing is that here, these are cool. These closed back AKGs are really cool. I have the open back version, I don't have it here. But for mixing, these closed back would maybe be a better choice. But I really don't like to give such advices because it really depends. It would be better that you actually try and listen to both and check. It's hard to do here, but maybe, I mean, rarely some shop has all different types of headphones. Also, biodynamic headphones are popular. Not only popular, but they actually sound really good. This DT line, 800, 900, 700. These are cool, and these also, so 900 versus 800 and 700 and whatnot. Try and check them out, listen to how they sound, and that's it. You have open back, closed back, different variations. We can talk about this impedance here, 600 ohm. But without going into too much technical details, if you see on a headphone, what? If you see on a headphone this impedance rating, the higher this impedance rating, the quieter the headphone is going to be when you connect it to your output from the computer. So if you want your headphones to produce a louder sound, they have to have a smaller impedance. If you want them to be quieter, but let's say better, they sound better if they have a lower impedance rating. But they are louder if they have a higher impedance rating. But usually, if you mix, if you're interested in mixing, you don't want them to be extremely loud. If you're not a drummer or something like that, if you are recording in a studio, then you want them to be loud. But then usually you would have a headphone preamp, so a device which amplifies the sound going into the headphones. Usually, if you're just going to mix, it's better to choose headphones with a lower impedance rating.